I had been, for a long time, into quantum physics in general. And actually, before they first got in touch with me, I'd been reading this book called The Field by Lynn McTaggart, which is all about, it's documenting a group of rogue quantum physicists who are very actually Faraday-esque in that they're pushing the boundaries, studying matter at a subatomic level, away from the traditional, more Newtonian-based science rules. And it's hard to do. It's risky. The reason why it's so controversial and hard to get funding for these scientists to keep studying this is because at this subatomic level, as we discussed, you lose the capacity to describe what it is. You get into a territory where you necessarily have to start describing it in terms that are more reserved for spiritual territories of our lives or emotional. And it's interesting to me that we've sort of come full circle back to this because in the 17th century, medicine and healing was a lot different in that it used to be all-encompassing. It used to include spirituality and concepts of what some describe as God, emotion, spirituality. And what happened is Descartes in the 17th century made a turf deal with the Pope because Descartes wanted to study cadavers, but that was forbidden, right? So the Pope at the time said, I'll let you study these cadavers if you and all your scientists leave emotion and spirituality to the church. So since then, there's been this divide, and science has been very much about everything concrete, Newtonian-based physics, and that was okay for quite a while, but we keep coming closer and closer and back. We keep returning to these boundaries where you kind of have no choice but to describe it in these terms, where it becomes more about metaphysics and spirituality, in terms of language. I've been reading actually quite a bit about epigenetics, which is genetics, but epigenetics is above genetics. It's sort of like the new frontier for genetics. Back in 1953, they discovered genes, and the theory for 50 years or more has been essentially that what controls the behavior of a cell, it's in the nucleus, it's the genes in the nucleus that are commanding. So if you inherit a certain gene, you're very likely to end up with the consequence of these genes, either the cancer gene or this gene or that. And that, in essence, has been, the whole nature versus nurture debate. But what that essentially says to people, the message that we get on hearing that science, is that it takes away responsibility from us. Again, a new rogue group of scientists that I've been studying, what they believe is that what controls the behavior of the cell the most is not nature, is not this inheritance. They don't believe that the brain, that the command center in the cell is the nucleus with the genes. They believe that perception is what controls the cell. And they're finding that it's not the genes themselves that turn themselves on, it's the signal from the environment. And the signal from the environment is our perception, it's our ability to perceive. That's sort of pushing the boundaries to consider that, our perception has a lot to do with renegotiating reality. It has everything to do with it. If we believe, our belief system is everything. And that, of course, affects the concept of destiny multidimensionally. You can go so many different ways from this point. How this gets resolved, I'm really looking forward to seeing.